is better. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Okay, I'm not going to give you a speech. I will be finishing in 10 minutes because we won't have time. We already had enough speeches, right? So I'll be asking you a few questions, and inshallah, I would like to see how you answer them, and maybe a few reminders with that. Number one, how many of you think that your fathers loved you? The boys here, right? I'm not talking about their fathers themselves. If you're a father, already don't have to answer. I'm talking about those who are sons here. You believe that your fathers love you. Some of you are not raising hands. So we have a few who think that their fathers don't love them. Okay. Secondly, how many of you love your parents, including your father? Great. How many of you think your fathers are abusive? I said, how many of you think that your fathers are abusive? Because all of you always complain that he abuses us. Nobody thinks it? So next time I don't want to hear anyone saying that, oh, he abuses me. But now I'm asking, is he abusive? You're saying no. Or you're shy of saying it. Some of you really think that your fathers are abusive, unfortunately. Although you're not raising hands. And this is what you learn here in this country. Like someone was speaking in the beginning also, was talking that no, our fathers don't have the same culture that we have here, as if American culture is better than our culture. Some of us think it this way. We think that our fathers, as Michelle was mentioning, that they don't speak good English. They might have a good degree from Bangladesh, but they don't speak English. And so they were not doing any good job. We think good jobs, right? There's no good job or bad job anyway. Anything that you do and you do it best, that is a good job. Right? But many people think that way, so they think that our fathers really don't know the culture. So if they're sometimes angry with you or they have spanked you or maybe slapped you once, and he's very abusive. And you go and complain it with the school teachers, right? They even teach you. They even teach you to go and tell them that if your parents are abusing anyway, inform us, you don't take action. And you become so excited. As some of you do, unfortunately. So, if you said your father is not abusive, I'm very happy that you don't say it. But some of you probably feel it that way. Now, another question. Do you think that your father has a right to discipline you? Raise your hand and if you say yes.
What does discipline mean?
Okay, so everybody believes that fathers do have the right to discipline their children. It is actually a father's responsibility, not his right only, that he must discipline his children. Because who will teach you the world? It's not your teachers in the school. Not the government's, what do they call this, family services department. They are not the ones who are going to teach you how the world will work. It's your father's responsibility. Allah made him qawwam of the family. So he cares for you. And that's why sometimes you might find that he's angry. He might even slap you, right? He might even take a stick and beat you up. And that's very normal. And I'm trying to remind that here to everybody. Because a father has a responsibility to discipline his children, that's when he does that. But now, ask me a question. I asked one person, that person in one of my classes, right? I teach morals and manners in Islam. So this child, when we're talking about father's responsibility, so this is the girl on that side, she's asking, what if he's abusive? Then I asked, what do you mean by abusive? He said, oh, he sometimes just slaps us, right? I said, then why did he do it? Was there a reason? Then she wasn't speaking anymore, right? So why? Maybe he called you 3 times or 5 times, you did not respond. Is that true? She said, yes. What do you think? Your father is calling you 5 times, you're still not responding. You expect him to be nice, and doesn't it hurt him, his feelings? Does it hurt him? He's a man of the family. A man in authority, and you're disregarding his authority. What do you think will be nice to you? You have been very unkind to him when he was calling you nicely. He was calling, Abu, please come. And you are not You are simply ignoring him. And he did it 5 times, maybe 10 times, you're still not listening. You expect him not to be mad? What if you call me, and I'm sitting down here, I'm not even your father, I'm not your brother, not your son. You call me Brother Siraj, right? A few times. I just simply ignore you. What will happen the last time? You'll get angry extremely. And here is your father through whom you came to this world. And you are not responding to him, and you still expect him to be nice to you? His being nice is when he's disciplining you, because he's teaching you manners in this world. You need to listen to him. I'm emphasizing it in many ways, because many of our children who grow up in this country, they think their fathers are abusive, their mothers are abusive. When they are extremely disrespectful towards them, not responding to them, not listening to them, right? They're telling you to stop something, you're not stopping. They give you chances, times. Okay, after 10 minutes, please stop. And you are still there for 20 minutes and 30 minutes gone. You expect your father to be nice to you? And he'll come still and kiss you and hug you at that time? He should.
No.
That's how he should be. But it should be also very normal for a man to become mad at that time. And you need to understand that. And I don't think American fathers will be also very happy that you think that your fathers don't follow their ways of behavior. I have talked to many American friends of mine who said their fathers used to beat them up really at home. The white, blacks, and all groups. Right? But some of us think that we come from outside, and then I'm not saying that your father should beat you up, right? Okay, don't take that that idea. I'm also not telling the fathers that they should beat up their children, right? This is not what my intention is. My objective is we need to know that fathers have a responsibility to build up a family. A family is held by the father. Remember. You might say, what about the mother? Your mother's responsibility. There is the father's responsibility to hold the family together. And when a family falls apart, you'll find your life will become what? Hell on earth. Remember, how many, if you look at statistics, some of you are too young probably, you might not understand, but those of you who have grown up a little bit, you go and read data and look at the statistics. The children who are taken away from their parents by the family services and put in the foster care, what happened to those children in this country? Did they grow up to be man enough? No, none of them. Yes, after 18 years, those foster families ditch them, right? And these children now do not know anything about life. They just finished their high school somehow, but they have not learned anything about life. And the foster families have ditched it, because after 18, it's not their responsibility. So they don't know anything how to live life in the country. And you have too many of such children in this country. Remember, nobody loves you in this planet Earth, on the planet, more than your parents. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody loves you more than your father or your mother. Even if you think that your father is abusive, your mother is abusive. There's another way of his showing love anyway, but it's harsh though. Some of you think that, no, he's too abusive. No, it's actually he's caring for you, and that's why he wants to fix you. Because you are not fixed. You need it to be fixed. So no one loves you more than your own parents. And that's why you need to understand that. Yes, I know there are some fathers who do not have the sense of responsibility towards families. And this is also because of the way the generation is growing up. So they do not know how to be responsible towards their families. So when they become father, they do not know how to take care of their family. And they don't take care of their children. So anyway, you said you love your parents. You believe that they're not abusive. You also agree that they have a responsibility to take care of you. Yes, they have that responsibility. Remember, I was asking those children, also in the class, the father, the girl was complaining, what is he abusive? And why? Then I asked this question, she said yes. Well, she wasn't really caring what the father wants her to do. So then how do you expect your father to be so nice to you all the time? Right? May not happen. So we need to remember. However, at the same time, we also need to remember what Brother Mashur is reminding. Think about your fathers. How many of you know that what type of trouble your fathers go through when they go outside? Do you really care? If your father is a taxi driver, right? How many nights he might have problems with his passengers? Did you know that? Have you ever thought of? How many of them abused him? How many of them have said bad words towards him? Right? A father working for a company or a corporation, maybe how many times he have had to face his manager and face that situation. And he came back home, of course he's, what? Troubled and tired. Do you even think about that? They bring money, provides, right? And you still say, no, our fathers and our guys, they don't really go American culture. It's our selfishness that makes us not to think about how our fathers are out there struggling. Why did they come to this country? Do people like to leave their own countries, their families, their land, the land on which they grow up? Their families are there, cousins are there, uncles are there. Why did they come here? So that they can build a future for you. Because a man does not live forever. Who lives after him? His children. So he thought that if I can go to America, I'll be able to make more money. I'll be able to provide an environment to my children so they can go to school and can learn the skills of this world. So he sacrifices everything behind him. How many times you have never seen that your father probably is sitting down alone, not talking to anybody, but probably his heart is bleeding inside. Why? Because he hasn't seen his mother for many, many years. He hasn't seen his father many, many years. He hasn't seen his siblings that he has left behind many, many years. Do we think about those things? No, we're so selfish. This culture here that you grow up is extremely selfish. And that's why they teach you to be selfish and then complain. I don't know, there are some of you who have attended a class with me, right? I used to show a video, right? A father and a son, maybe some of you saw that, sitting in a park bench, right? And then a sparrow comes, sits down, it makes noise. The father asks his son, what is this, right? So the son says, no, this is a sparrow, and he's reading newspaper. So after a few seconds pass, the father asks again, what is that? So this time the son, a little annoyed, he said, sparrow. So after a few seconds passed, the sparrow made again the sound, and the father said, what is that? He said, Father, I already told you this is a sparrow. And he throws his newspaper, right? How many of you do that? Probably many of you do. So the father, he leaves. When he was leaving, the son was even further angry. I mean, so he was annoying me by asking the same question again and again. It's one bird, and I told him the name, and he's leaving, right? So the father still leaves. He goes back to his home, and then he brings a diary. So he opens his diary, gives his son to read that particular page, right? So he reads. That was when this son was 3 years old. And of course, this is now a 23-year-old man. So he reads. He said, this is the same bench he was sitting with this son of his when this son was 3 years old. And there was this sparrow. And the son asked the father, those kids always they ask curious. He said, Daddy, what is this? So he said, sparrow. And he said, I counted. My son said 21 times, what is it? And every time I responded, and I felt my heart softening towards him, I told him it's a sparrow, and I kissed him, I hugged him every time I said to him. Now the son looks at that, right? And just 3 times the father said. So he feels now sorry. And he starts crying and starts hugging his father and kissing him. That's how your fathers are going through each other. But many of you do not understand. Think about the day you were born. Your mother was facing the labor in this hospital room and your father is probably moving around. Do you know what to do? What is going to happen? Is this child going to be born a regular baby? Is it going to be alive? Is the mother going to be fine? He's probably making dua every single minute that he's waiting for your birth. The time will be coming. And as soon as you come, he rushes, right? Takes you and he makes adhan in your ears. That is how fathers are. So besides the mother, Sajjad mentioned in the hadith, right? We all know that the Jannah is under the feet of the mothers. But the Prophet ﷺ said, what? Your father is the best door of that Jannah. So if Jannah could be under your mother's feet, but to enter that Jannah, you have to go through your father. So this is why the hadith says, رِضَى الرَّبِّ فِي رِضَى الْوَالِدِ وَسَخَطُ رَبِّ فِي سَخَطِ الْوَالِدِ. The contentment or the pleasure of the Lord is in the Father's pleasure. And the displeasure is also in the Father's displeasure. So my sons, right, all of you are my son's age, or a little older. As your fathers, I call them brother, right? So now, remember that you will also be fathers one day. You want your children to be kind towards you too. Because I can feel now, right? I could see sometimes some uncles getting out of the masjid, right? They're standing by the door, still taking too many steps, and you're standing behind and you're getting annoyed. Why is this man taking so long time? Right? Now I can feel that myself. Because my neck pains, my knees hurt. So I could see why this man was waiting there like that. There was a time we used to climb every tree, jumping from one to the other. Probably more agile than monkeys, right? We used to climb even trees that has thorns. But now if I want to make one step over this bench, I will probably think 3 times before taking that. You too, because you have so much energy now, you don't think. But as you grow older, you will find, how was your father doing? He needs your support. And of course, it is your fathers who will be supporting you now. But I just want to remind you, it is your right to be supported by them and to be loved by them. But you always have to have what? Respect for them and love. A man requires love, but his love should come in the form of respect. Remember, your mother wants your love too. But again, I say that when it comes to man, he requires respect. And respect should be shown. So he calls you, you need to respond. What if even if you're praying, you're praying sunnah enough, or your mother calls you, your father calls you, you need to break your salah and respond to it. Only when it is fault, then you don't, because that's Allah's right. It's a sunnah prayer. Now what about you're watching TV? Or you're playing games? And your father calls you, or your mother's calling you, you're not responding. You need to respond even when you are praying. I said, if it's fault prayer, then you don't. You finish, then you respond. But if it's sunnah enough, you have to respond. And this is how they deserve your right. Nobody deserves any more right over you than your father and your mother in this world. After Allah and His Messenger, of course. So inshallah, I would end here. I would like all of you to be children who try to make some understanding about how and why their parents behave the way they do. Sometimes it's important that you have to make a little effort to understand why are they behaving this way. Why is my father so angry? As I said, maybe he had a very troubled day outside. Right? When he came back home, he's already in a bad mood. And you need to make sure that you understand that too. Although he should be, when he comes back home, that he should leave behind what he has faced outside. But sometimes not everybody can do that. So you should be kind to them. And Allah wants you to be kind to them. Once you are kind to them, you will find your children will be kind to them. With one story, I'll be ending. The story was, a man once took his father to the masjid. An old man. Father is very old. So he was telling his father, "Father, sit behind that pillar." The masjid has many posts, some of the big masjid. So he wants to sit in there. The father said, "No, not this pillar. Put me over there." So the son was now, wondering. He said, "Why? What difference does it make if I make you sit here or not there?" He said, "I know what you are doing. Meaning you are abandoning me in the masjid." Because the son, his wife does not like that this old man be at home, so he's trying to get rid of his father. Right? He brings him to the masjid, the Muslims will take care of this old man. He makes him sit in that. The father said, "No, not in this post. Put me there." So he says, "What's the difference?" He said, "I know why you are leaving me here. I know that you are trying to abandon me. And I did that to my father. And that was the post when I led to my father. So leave me there. If you are not kind to your parents, there will be a time when you become old, the energy will be gone. You will know that your children will treat you the same way you treat your parents. Because you all know, you have the saying in English, right? What goes around comes around. In Bangla, we call it Jawan Korma Taman, which is the meaning, saying it comes from Hinduism, the concept of Hinduism, karma. Your karma will bring feedback. Karma means action. What you do, you get a result accordingly. Or as you sow, so you reap. So be kind to your parents, be respectful, be loving. And of course they love you. Remember, your father loves you despite his being apparently an abusive man. That abusive father loves you more than the foster family will put you in. And of course, I'm not going to say that you will be always tolerating all sorts of abuse, of course. There are some fathers, as I said, they haven't learned the ways of life, so they become truly abusive. In that case, you should come to the community and should live. Like for example, in now you can tell. But don't go and tell in the school or the police. Why? They'll take your father in jail, and then next day, you'll have nobody providing for the family. And then they might even put you in a foster care, where you'll never be treated well. Remember, foster places are never good. Children are abused there. They're abused in all sorts of abuse, physical, psychological, even sexual abuse. So know that nobody loves you more than your parents, but as I said, if you find sometimes it may happen, you can tell the imams of them, so they could talk to your fathers, why are they behaving in such a way, and they can provide them counseling. And for our elders, remember, you need to love your children. Yes. And you need to understand their values. আপনাকে অবশ্যই আপনার বাচ্চাদেরকে ভালোবাসতে হবে, তাদেরকে চান্স দিতে হবে একটার পরে। আমরা অনেকে মনে করি আমাদের ছেলেমেয়েদেরকে একটু অসুবিধা হলে তাদেরকে মাইক্রো করা শুরু করে দিই। This is not how it should be done. আপনাকে তার উপরে বিশ্বাস রাখতে হবে আপনার ছেলের উপরে। আর সে যদি বকেও যায়, you still have to have faith in your children. আপনি যদি তাদের উপরে বিশ্বাস রাখেন, আস্থা রাখেন, এবং তাদের কাছে দোয়া করতে থাকেন, উপদেশ দিতে থাকেন, Allah will bring them back. তারা যখন ম্যাচিউর হবে, আপনি আশা করেন তার কাছে অনেক কিছু, তার কাছে হয়তো সেই ম্যাচিউরিটি লেভেলে সে এখন পৌঁছেনি। These are things I'm going to say to your parents, right? Fathers have seen that. সে আপনার মতো করে চিন্তা করার বয়স এখনো পৌঁছেনি। স্বাভাবিকভাবেই তার আচরণ থেকে কি অনেকগুলি জিনিস আমি দেখতে পাবো, এগুলো আপনার পছন্দ হবে। মনে রাখতে হবে, সে এখন ইমেচিউর। এমন কিছু 18 বছর হয়ে যাবে, কারণ তার বুদ্ধির পরিপক্কতা এখনো পৌঁছেনি। সেজন্য তাকে আপনাকে চান্স দিতে হবে, চান্সের পর চান্স। আপনি আজকে তার কাছে আশা করছেন, সে করেন না। কাউকে আশা করেছেন, সে করেন না। And it went days after days, maybe 3 years later, you'll find that your son is the best son in the community. আপনি যে জিনিস তাকে করাতে পারেন 3 বছর আগে, he is doing it now passionately. সেভাবে তারা চেঞ্জ হবে, আপনাকে বুঝতে হবে, সময় দিতে হবে। আর কখনোই আপনার বাচ্চাগুলো আপনি বিশ্বাস হারাবেন। আপনি তাদের উপরে আস্থা হারান, তখন আপনি তাকে মারধর করবেন, গালাগালি করবেন, শেষ পর্যন্ত অনেক সময় কিছু বাপ তাদের অভ্যাস আছে, তারা তাদের ত্যায্য করবেন। এই ধরনের মানসিকতা আমাদের তাদেরকে চান্সের পর চান্স দিতে হবে, তাদেরকে উপদেশ দিতে হবে এবং চান্স দিতে হবে। আর ফিজিক্যাল মারধর করার অভ্যাস দূর করতে হবে। আপনার যতই রাগ হোক কন্ট্রোল করতে হবে। শারীরিকভাবে তাদের উপরে মারধর করা অত্যাচার দেবো না, কিছু মারধর করার অভ্যাস থেকে আমাদের দূর করতে হবে। আমাদের কিছু পুরুষদের অভ্যাস হচ্ছে মারধর করা। আমার সব বাচ্চাদের সামনে তাদের মাকেও অনেকে মারধর করে না, এগুলো তাদের উপরে প্রভাব। আল্লাহ তাআলা আমাদেরকে বোঝার প্রতিকার করেন। আমি বড় মুখে আলোচনা করার করে সময় নষ্ট করতে চান, আমরা সবাইকে প্রতিকার করেন। আল্লাহ guide us all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq so that we can understand the rights and responsibilities. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you all patience. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you wisdom and knowledge. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you energy and protect you so that you can have long life and a very productive life. The life that will be very productive here in this world. The life that is full of obedience to Allah and to the parents, so that you will be able to enter into the Jannah, the gardens of happiness. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.